After watching that amazing movie, I became more disheartened because it's like, how can you create such an amazing work of art? Like it was like the best shit I ever seen type work of art. Like the whole theater jam packed watching this, and yet they have so many turds that they dropped around it
What
between
you
the
mean?
Spider-Man series and Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. I thought that was good. But like it's just so many turds. I'm thinking like, do y'all have like a writer's room where you know what I'm saying you have quality control? Cause I know watching cause like the Miles shit is funny, it's deep, it's harrowing, it's multi-layered. It has a lot of shit going on for it. It's a very complex story.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? And you have other stories in the Marvel universe that's more simpler than that. And they just can't pull it off. And it makes no sense to me whatsoever. That
I'm,
literally this shit was so amazing. Like so top tier. And
I
then
mean,
all of
but
a sudden you have like
this
uh
is it's
Moon
a
Knight.
different studio though. Fresh. This is Sony. They got a track record of fucking up.
Yeah, that makes it even more mind boggling. You know what I'm saying? Like we
Right.
see
How can
some
they get that right but can't get nothing else right?
Uh, yeah, because I don't know who got the Miles project. I bet it was a throwaway project with some young intern type dude or whatever. Like, hey man, just give me a chance. And he was like, give it to his ass. And he
Hmm.
created him a masterpiece. I wouldn't be surprised. Because I feel like the people they first intend to do these projects, when it's the big name one, they always tell you to give you the hot name or whatever. But to Marvel's credit, I mean, they've been trying to give you like old girl who did Eternal. She's big time. You know what I mean? She's fresh off an Oscar. I forget her name, but I mean, they give people chances to give you a good product. But I
no,
think some of the creators just embrace it more. Like a James Gunn just was like, "Oh, okay, you give me whatever, I'm gonna take it to the top," and he did that with Guardians. Um, who's ever in charge of the Sony studio doing with this Spider-Man is the same thing. We saw with man, I'm drawing a blank on his name all of a sudden. My man who did Fruitvale did with Black Panther. I mean, it's all about the creator, really. I
yeah,
think
but like it's
Marvel gets a
writers'
good
rooms
guy.
though.
Ryan
You know,
Coogler,
it's
yeah.
writers' rooms.
Cougar, yeah.
And you know, you have somebody at the top. And you know, it literally goes through a hierarchy to get things approved.
Hmm.
And you try to hit so many demographics. It makes no sense to me how perfectly both Miles movies. Now,
Hmm.
you know what I'm saying? This is just not just this one. The first one was amazing. You know what I mean? I'm thinking like, dang, is this the best Marvel movie yet? How- And the new one come out, and then the same question comes like, damn, is this the best movie Marvel ever produced? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like I know they talk to each other, man. Like it can't just be Gunn and then whoever did the Miles shit and then everybody else. You know what I'm saying? Like they, like you just said, they bring top tier talent in for these movies, but it feels like they doing such a mediocre job.
Yeah. They say Phil Lord and Christopher Miller are the original creators, co-creators of the Spider-Verse, along with co-writers David Callahan.
Those are the guys
Yeah.
that did the Lego movies, right?
Hmm. Yeah, I know one of them had a hand in that Lego movie.
Yeah, they did. They did both of the Lego movies,
Oh,
and they
straight
did
up.
a what's that Easter egg in the Miles
Hmm.
movie when they went to the Lego universe, which was brilliant as
Yeah.
well. You know what I'm saying? So
I
I'm
liked
saying
it that a lot of the Spider-Man from um, the different animated universes popped up too.
yeah, it was fire, especially like when they did the old timey one. He was trying to chase after Miles, man. Utter
Yeah,
hilarity. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
They even had Metro Boomin as a Spider Man. You know what I'm saying?
straight up.
Oh, he was.
Yeah,
I didn't catch that one.
yeah. He was
Yeah, it was a
the
lot
one.
going on. You definitely got to watch it multiple times to really kind of get a grasp because it was a lot going on in that film.
Facts.
Um, were you guys surprised it was going to be a sequel?
You talking about
Yes.
after this? You talking about the
Yeah,
way
like
it
a
ended?
direct sequel, not like a
Right.
third movie, but a direct sequel.
No, I mean the first one was such a hit. You know how that go. They're gonna string this out as long as they possibly can.
Yeah,
As an
that's
avid
what.
film watcher, I was not like everybody in the theater did a collective groan. Like, are you kidding me? Like, we got to come back again. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was so great. I would have stayed another hour and a half in the theater.
I don't know. I was starting to kind of feel like, all right, we should be wrapping this up. I'm not saying I wasn't enjoying the film,
Yeah,
but I wasn't expecting it to end the way it did. I'm like, okay, once we found out that he wasn't in his home reality, it was a dope twist. I like that they kept us on the edge of our seat the entire movie,
Facts.
and we never actually, even though you've seen these type of tropes so many times, even when you thought you had a handle on it and you thought that you figured it out and you were right on step with them, you weren't. And that's what I really appreciated about the film, because knowing that his dad was in danger, he was fighting to get home, you thought he had made it home, all to find out that he not where he's supposed to be, and his dad still, still in jeopardy. It was just a dope spin. So yeah, I was expecting it to end, but I'm like, all right, I kind of didn't appreciate it, but I'm like, I can respect it because it does make me genuinely hyped to see a part three.
yeah,
Facts.
because a lot of like I'm with you, Will. It was paced so crazy. 'Cause, I mean,
Hmm.
because the movie starts off with a good 10-15 minute homage to Gwen, which is cool. But just from there, you're like, all right, we got a lot of story to tell. And the way they just paced the story, I'm like, I don't know. It just I'm like Fresh. I could have took more a movie, gotta give me more
Hmm.
movie to watch, but you kind of felt like, all right, we kind of running long now. Like something's about to go give. So I
Yes,
thought
sir.
the cliffhanger was noteworthy. And besides, I don't even think they wrapped up any of the storylines. So you kind of have to do a cliffhanger. I mean, everything was left on the floor still.
I felt like they spent too much time with his parents. Once we got about 30 minutes in, 40 minutes in, and we were still dealing with the arguments and stuff with his mother and father. I was like, all right, well, when is the movie gonna start? Like,
Well,
I want to get past this, but
that gives it an emotional angle, though. You know what I mean? Like, he's trying to save the world because
mhm,
he's not Peter. You know what I'm saying? So he's trying to save the world while also being a good son. You know what I
mhm,
mean, to a cop and a mother, you know what I'm saying? I don't know what a homemaker, whatever, right? And like trying to follow their core values and shit. You know what I mean? So I appreciate the slice of life in it. You know what I mean? Normally, I'm the John Wick guy. I want to see, you know what I'm saying, guns blazing, you know what I'm saying? The blam blams doing what they do. But this was such a well-rounded story. You know what I mean? I couldn't anything they gave me, man. I was enjoying it. Except one thing, man. So you telling me this nigga Miles don't get bit by the spider in 42? So the nigga gonna become a criminal?
mhm. Well, I mean, we don't know what would have happened to him in his reality. Did they establish that universe that he's in is 1610, right? Is that
So they
1610?
Miles,
established his original universe is yes, it's I could look that up, but like
no, it's
it's like
1610.
1610. It's something like that, or 610.
Okay,
Um,
so he in 42 right now. So I
right.
mean, in the comics, we were just kind of briefly talking about it earlier. He comes from the Ultimate Universe, which is the 1610 universe. He was so dope and so
Actually,
popular.
they was talking about it. Technically, in the comics, it was the 1999 universe for the Ultimate shit. It's a weird thing they trying to actually twist
Hmm.
to make us not notice it and shit. You know what I'm saying? Because that's why they mentioned my man's Strange and my man's Tom Holland.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? They trying to meld both of the animated and live action universes. You know what I'm saying? But like technically, I believe it was like 1999. I believe they mentioned that shit in the movie as well.
I can appreciate that. You
Mm.
know, I'm thinking that all of this animated stuff is gonna matter in a movie or two. I think it's gonna all flesh out and it's gonna become a live action flick pretty soon because I was thinking that it's gonna all come full circle with the Doctor Strange storyline and kind of slightly tie into how they did it in the comics because he was so popular in that original universe, which is not 616. When the incursions happened and Doom took the power of Owen Reese, the Molecule Man, and made Battle World, once he was defeated, they took Miles and put him in the main universe. You know what I'm saying? But 616 has his own Miles. He's evil though. You know what I'm saying? He's older, but he's evil. So I kind of like the spin that they did. Kevin Feige, they try to give him credit and say that he's comics accurate. I wouldn't say that he's necessarily comics accurate, but he tries to stay true to most elements in comics, which I can appreciate with this story. So I can kind of see where he's going, but like I said, as soon as I start to think that I got a decent handle on what's happening, they just flip it. So I like it, man. I really enjoyed the film.
I think what we're witnessing is finally the true post-COVID Marvel, because I think right in that little time frame when quarantine and all that started happening, a lot of those projects were coming out, and I don't know, I just don't think they got the best possible quality they could get from a lot of these projects. I think the last straw, the one that was pretty much unacceptable, was Ant-Man, but the ones before it, um, the ones that were struggled at least, I kind of something had to been up, man, because Marvel quality just shouldn't have dropped as hard and fast
It
as it did,
it
though.
it go back into what Fresh said. He was talking about quality control earlier. Quality control for them is Kevin Feige. Kevin Feige is stretched so thin with all of the content that he's trying to put on Disney Plus and the movies. It's trying to push out 2 or 3 movies in a year, plus 2 to 3 shows in a year. That's just too much for one man, man. They had to dial it way back. You know what I'm saying? So I think the glue that's tying it all together is Kevin Feige.
And to back up one point you made, the thing that they're pounding away pretty much since the first Endgame movie is the timeline. They've pretty much broken that down visually and how they break that timeline down and how I can piece off and do things, and it's very fragile. So I think this
Hmm.
movie just reiterated a Marvel concept that's been going on since the end of Phase 3. Now, how
Hmm.
much they embrace this timeline concept in their own writing and own accord and the rules that they've made, we'll see. But I think everybody is getting this thing crash right into their brain, front and center. Like, hey, timeline, timeline, timeline. This is like the fourth different project where Marvel's kind of harped on the timeline. So, yeah, get used to it.
You
They
think they're
tied
gonna?
that shit in beautifully this time around.
I,
Like they showed the actual graphics of what we've seen since Loki. You know
mhm.
what I mean? And then instead of calling it an incursion or all that, they was calling it what, canon events or something like
Mhm.
that.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know what I mean? They had their own jargon for it, but it was the same thing. It was like, yo, this has to happen. If this doesn't happen, this destroys certain things, i.e., it'll splinter off and do whatever it was doing before prior. It's crazy how,
Well, since
like it's crazy to say how fragile it is because, like, you have right now the Kang niggas doing what they do, plus the Spider niggas doing what they do, they both doing a Hall of Ricks. You know what I'm saying?
now let me
Um,
let me ask y'all this. So, if you pinpoint a moment, right? Because before the timeline got broken in Loki, there was always time cops to shut that incursion stuff down right away. Now, since they got rid of all of them, do you think all of these things are happening in these other Marvel projects, kind of like sleight of hand, kind of, yeah, like, oh hey, if you've been keeping up with Loki, now you see crazy shit going on in every other project we doing.
I think it's all happening simultaneously, man,
Yeah, yeah,
building towards a major event. Going back to what he was saying about that canon event, I would have thought his uncle dying was his canon event. Just to find out that his dad, you know what I'm saying, had to die too. I was like, man, that's rough. You know what I'm saying? So,
Well, they were saying like if you notice, like literally, Uncle Ben dies, the uncle dies, and
hmm
the captain dies. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? So
hmm
those are two canon events that's almost in every comic book version of Spider-Man. Or if the captain don't die, Gwen Stacy dies. You know
yeah.
what I'm saying? So like we only have one Gwen Stacy alive. If you look at it, you know what I'm saying? She's the one that became Spider-Man when Peter died. You know what I mean? So like it's crazy how the tale is so fucking multi-layered, man. I
hmm
enjoy everything about it, man.
yeah. I was just like, man, I feel like as much as I like Spider-Man, I feel like he's overhyped, bro. But
What?
I feel like he overhyped, bro.
Oh,
Come
you
on.
on your hot
I
take
felt
shit
like he
now,
was
huh?
I felt like he was no, listen. I felt like he was overhyped, right? Until I start seeing all those different Spider-Man getting busy. I was like, damn, I wouldn't mind being one of these cats.
It's gonna be Universe 42 will and shit.
Right.
Oh man, it was that when they was in India
hmm
and they was saving all those people from
The
that
debris.
bridge and whatnot during that Canada event.
hmm
Man, the way they was Melvin, I mean, weaving between each other to save
hmm
lives and shit like that, man. It was a visual sight to behold, man.
Yeah, that was dope, man. It was
Yeah,
dope. I'll say like one of my favorite Spider-Man. Some of the people, some of the groups I follow on Facebook said they didn't appreciate how they did Ben Riley in that. Ben Scarlet Spider Man is probably one of the hardest Spider Man, but I do understand the comedic take that they decided to go with him because he was supposed to be edgy like the 90s or whatever.
He was totally emo.
But he's got one of the hardest backgrounds too, though. You know what I'm saying? So I hope, like, in the next film, maybe we can get a little bit of his story, or maybe we can get a Splinter story at some point of
And
Ben
he like a
Riley.
clone.
Yeah, he a
mm,
clone. But
Mm.
he thought he was a real cat for a minute though, so that's a dope as that's a dope story in itself.
it was something. If you ever go back and watch those old Spider-Man, the Fox ones, had a they had their own little Spider-Verse meeting, and
hmm
Ben Riley was more comedic value in it back then. So I don't know. Maybe that's
Hey,
just
why you think he didn't show up? He was like the main one though. He should have showed up. They had the 2000 Spider-Man in it.
hmm
They had that Spider-Man from like the early 2000s with the nanotechnology suit in it. They had a lot of like, they even had the 1960 Spider-Man show up and the
yeah.
Lego Spider. You know what I'm saying? So I'm wondering why that 90s version didn't show up,
The Fox
or
Kids
maybe
version.
he was in it. I just didn't see him.
Yeah, he might have been. Like you said, it's one of those ones you got to go back and watch.
hmm
Fresh mentioned the Hall of Ricks from the Rick and Morty thing. It seems like that's going to be milked to death, and that's going to come without this whole timeline thing. I'm not tripping on it, but I did dwell on the whole Spider Verse thing because first of all, Miguel is a loser. Like you don't get the right to do that. You know what I'm saying? You can't just be like, oh no, no, we stopping you. I get it, but no, you can't tell me that what I can't do. But
Hey, but you know, he he knows from experience what happens when you try to stop those canon events. So he's trying to actually, you know, save more lives than just that one person. So
You
it's
know,
a
he
hard
was doing some
call.
weirdo shit though. You know what I mean? Like
I don't like his authority shit. Like,
he
nah,
remember he was talking about his backstory about like you know what I'm saying. The
yeah,
other Miguel died and he just took his place.
right.
hmm
He took over the kid and had a family and all that shit. That was some weirdo shit, man.
But it
yeah.
was. But my thing is this: why is it that it's Spider-Man only that what that like if me a rogue Spider-Man do some shit that's non-canonical, I guess. Why does that put all of us in jeopardy? Why doesn't it work that way with all the wills of the universes, all the Doctor Dooms of the universes, or all the damn
I think he's just the one who stumbled across it and found that that's the case. You know what I'm saying? So for whatever reason, he decided to bring all these spider people into it. Actually, the most annoying one to me was Jessica Drew.
You ain't like Issa Rae, man.
Nah, bro.
uh,
First off, the whole pregnant Spider Woman thing didn't fly in the comics,
You ain't
and she was a
appreciate the
white
black
woman.
single mother.
uh,
Right. I didn't appreciate that at all. So it didn't fly in the comics.
that's what it was. I
Then they
could not
turned
picture my
around and
listen.
made her a black woman. I said, "What in the fuck is going on, bro?"
It was something about her character that was just pissing me off, and I didn't know what it was. Fresh that, yeah, that
I
was.
don't
We
give a
don't know if
fuck.
she was
I don't give a
married.
fuck. That is not heroic. Putting your unborn child in danger. That's some bullshit.
But hell, Peter had his actual child out there, so
I know, right?
Right.
I mean,
Right.
so, I don't know. It can go a lot of ways. It's a spider baby,
Yeah, it
but
was
no,
silly, man. It was silly at some points, man.
I wasn't a fan of Miguel. What is more or less his story? I mean, I know he, is a usurper, but is he taking some kind of venom type of drug to?
No, he comes from the year 2099, and he was working for Alchemex, and they were experimenting with trying to create super soldiers in his time because there were no superheroes at that point. And so the drug that he was working on got spliced with spider DNA, similar to Peter's story. He got bit by this, or he took this drug. Everybody's like druggies in that time.
Mm,
And he took the drug and basically he became Spider-Man, but his powers work different. He got talons, he got fangs. He just got a different set of abilities. His powers don't really work like Peter's does or
Yeah,
Miles
I saw
does.
you shot laser webs instead of
I think
everybody
that's
else
his
shooting
suit, but
webs.
like, as far as like the fangs, he got talons on his fingers and his toes. That's how he climbs buildings. He don't rearrange molecules like Peter and Miles do.
Yeah,
so
those things kind of weirded me out too, man. Out of nowhere when he was messing with low key that Da Vinci Vulture,
Hmm.
amazing villain.
Yeah, it was dope.
yeah, he was
Just the
way too OP, bro. Way too OP.
just yeah. I mean, he was just. I mean, he
First
was
fight
putting
in the
on his
movie, I'm
gadgets
like,
and
come on.
shit.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he was giving them boys problems. I'm like, hold
yeah.
on.
Hey, but you know
Oh,
what? Obi, the punk Spider Man, that was dope. Just the different styles, man. I just can't imagine what it would take to create something like this, man. All those different animation styles. You got different frame rates. Man, the fucking movie was beautiful, man.
Yeah, they
yeah.
shot their whole load with this, man. Pause.
I
Yeah.
don't know. Yeah, they got a whole nother joint about to come out. We don't know. It's a lot of shit left in the store. I think they still got more Easter eggs to pull out and all that type of stuff.
Yeah, I don't know. We got multiple Spider-Man and Gwen coming to save him from Prowler, Miles, and his uncle. And then you got the Spot. You remember that original Into the Spider-Verse storyline had those vampires that was hunting the spider totems. That would be dope if they tied them into that next movie.
Um, it would, but I feel like it's gonna be a typical Spider-Man story,
I
and
don't know if this is enough. I don't think it's enough bad guys
I
in it
don't
to
know, man.
justify
This
hear me
having.
out though,
bro.
because there ain't no there is some absolutes with Spider-Man. He takes L's. I'm sorry, that's just no way around it. This can't end in that green happy ending. Like I
Mhm.
just can't see it. And somehow, some way, Miles is still going to take a massive L, and it's probably going to be Gwen because she is that one of one anomaly character. You know what I'm saying? Some kind of
I
You
think
can't
I
take his
think the
bitch away.
L I think the L is gonna be him losing his reality and having to stay in 42 because
oh,
technically that's where he's supposed to be at. I
that's
mean, they did it in the comics though, fresh. That's what I'm saying.
so. What
He's
happens
gonna
with
take a massive L.
Prowler Miles with Boricua
He's probably
Miles?
gonna end up.
Whatever he had.
He's gonna probably end up biting the dust, bro, or becoming one of his bad guys.
Tell you,
How
man.
could how would you fight yourself as your own bad guy? That
He's
would be
doing it in 616 right now.
really.
Yes.
Tell you, man, black single
Yeah.
motherhood and kids becoming criminals, man. I tell you, man, these
Hey, but
stereotypes will never die.
but get he didn't have that opportunity to become a hero in this, right? So that's a story that they're
That
kind
sounds
of
like a damn
playing it.
stereotype, don't it?
I see what you're
He didn't
saying,
have a
Fresh.
father figure, so he went straight
Right,
to criminality.
right. He
Like,
went to the
okay,
streets, man.
yeah, all
He
right.
couldn't pick up a book, go to college, couldn't do
No
none of
shot,
that shit,
no
dog.
shot. He could have been
No,
playing
he had
baseball
to.
or something. Nah, who knows?
We live in a real world, though, Fresh. There's a lot of people who don't feel like
And listen,
they
not
had a
only did he
choice.
become a criminal, he became a mid-tier, top-tier criminal. You know what I'm saying? He became the Prowler. Like,
No,
so
but
he was
listen,
destined for greatness either way.
Prowler in the comics actually became a mid-tier hero after getting involved with Peter. So he is a hero. Even in the '90s cartoon, he was a hero.
He's one of them anti-hero type
Yeah,
dudes.
he's
Huh?
an anti-hero. I had a lot of Prowler books. He's one of those characters that really resonate. One of them street level cats. He was a dope character to me. So he does become a hero. So he might be a villain right now, but we don't technically know what he's doing in his universe. We
No,
assume
we
that
have
he's a
no
villain.
idea. He could be a good
He
guy.
could be a good guy, you know.
Yeah, he could be. I don't see it. Though.
I
I'm
don't know,
sitting there.
man. The way he got him chained against that
I mean, if you
uh
came home and you
box
saw a
bag,
whole nother you talking gibberish, what would you do though, Fresh?
you don't want to say what Fresh gonna do.
Right, you're gonna get busy.
You gonna
It's
get the
like they
blame.
were talking crazy and shit,
Oh
talking about
yeah,
other realities and shit. Man, shit.
right. Keep talking, loading up the shotgun.
Right.
Keep talking. Yep. Tell me more. You say universe. Click, click, click. Oh,
Right.
look, man, I'm just trying to go back home. Yeah, you are going back home. Shit, about to meet the king. Yeah, no, it was an amazing movie, man. What's my man Spot?
Yeah.
I don't.
Amazing villain.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
It's crazy. He was an amazing villain, and they setting it up for this grand showdown because he got disrespected, but yet he still played it back. You know what I'm saying? Like, all the whole story is about stopping him, basically. But you know what I'm saying? Like, he literally played it back. That's how multi-layered and complex the story is. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they
All
took
because
that
my man called him a what? Called him a sucker?
a
That's
villain
villain
of
of
crazy.
the
the
week.
week or something. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
I
Man,
mean, all he had to do was say he was sorry to that guy. That guy was working with Octavia, the female Dr. Octopus.
hmm
I'm sure he probably didn't really fully understand what he was working on. He brings the spider there. He inadvertently gets affected and gets his powers and then basically loses everything. I kind of get what he was saying, man.
Wait, he's the clown that knew he brought an interdimensional spider into the other side of the damn.
Right?
Right.
No, you don't get no. Screw him. And
He
then,
get no props. He get
yeah,
no play.
and then he was
Wait a
mad.
minute, man.
And then
He's
he's
just a
mad.
guy working in a lab, bro.
Nah,
No,
nah.
he did. He working
Nope.
for the kingpin, man. He's dementally evil. You know
And
what I'm saying?
then he was mad that Miles' life changed for the better, and
And
his
his didn't.
losing up, yeah, losing his wife and shit. It's like, oh, okay.
Well, one thing I can appreciate though, y'all kind of touched on it. They gave the Spot the gun treatment. James Gunn is able to take these subpar, no name, you know, D-list villains and make them all stars, and that's what they did with him because um, they had that episode with the Spot in that '90s Spider-Man cartoon. He was pretty dope. You know what I'm saying? He had decent powers or whatever. He didn't have no control over them, just like the movie. But basically, taking him and making it to where he is a multi-dimensional being, that's dope, man.
Yeah,
Made him,
because
yeah.
you think about his powers, whatever, right? And just in a small vacuum, you think about his power. He's
Hmm.
a mega level threat. You know what
Hmm.
I'm saying? And
Yeah.
like, they never fully fleshed him out, like you said in the comics, and like they fleshed him out in this movie, man. I'm like, okay, so this is another trans-dimensional threat other than uh, uh, my man, what's my man's name? Kang. Other than Kang, he might be even worse than Kang. You know what I'm saying? Because inherently, it's his powers. Kang is using our technology. You know what I'm saying?
But
And
And he's emotional, highly emotional. So that makes
so
him
so
even
what?
more
He
of a
can
threat.
just jump into any dimension now, basically.
yeah,
Basically, he's kind of like America Chavez.
Okay, all right,
But
yeah.
but like literally more OP. You know what I'm saying? And
yeah.
with the single mindedness to destroy Miles' life.
Hmm.
But I feel like his character is ultimately going to be wrapped up in a fodderized way. I can feel it. Some quippy remark is going to shut him down mentally,
I
and
just can't see how you can stop an omnipotent being, bro.
you
He
just
can
said it.
go
He's emotionally
wherever.
unstable.
Well,
Like
I
Yeah.
think what you call it, they hinted at Miles' powers that could stop him. Like remember, like he was they was doing that amazing chase on the train, whatever, right?
mhm.
And Miguel caught up to Miles, and Miles just sucked away his power and shit, pause, um, whatnot. I think that could happen as well to Spot. Well, you know what I'm saying?
Was he affecting his suit? I didn't get that. He ain't never had the ability to manipulate or take anybody else's abilities away. I
Well,
thought he
he
was
was
just
literally
affecting his
taking away
suit.
their energy. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? So
take
like
power, quote
he
unquote.
is literally. It looks like it was literally like how Black Panther suit was doing. You know what I'm saying? Taking all this kinetic ability and be able to push that shit out. You know what I'm saying? So that most likely be the way because they noted like when Spot was losing, he lost like his ability to move, and he
Hmm.
got stuck in that trans-dimensional area and shit because he lost all the spots, and now he had to gain the spots again. They showing us the foreboding of how like okay, this is how you beat this nigga. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
So I can see that happen,
I'm
especially
just saying, I would not be surprised if they just hit him with a fodder type ending to his tail. Like, oh, okay, you
it could
know,
be
Yeah.
possible. Anything's possible with a
Spider-Man.
layered story like this. I appreciate how they labeling stuff too, man. Like they called it the hammer space with the Porky Pig Spider-Man. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
He pulled out the hammer, whatever, right? And it was like, yeah, it's just a void where people keep shit it everywhere. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just like everybody knows it's just part of their lexicon. You know what I'm saying? They jargon like, yeah, it's just the hammer space. Pull that shit out.
The hammer space.
You know what I'm saying? That shit kind of dope, man.
Yeah, I gotta watch it again, man. What y'all think about Dr. Umar talking shit about him being in love with a white girl?
I didn't see that.
I did not see that, but
Yeah, Dr. Umar was tripping.
hold on, hold
Uh,
on, hold on. Now, was he in love with the white girl, or was the white girl in love with black people? Because she had a lot of inferences of how she just loved the culture. I was like, oh, okay, definitely down. You know, that's a good team. You know, she was all over Hobie. You know, like, oh yeah,
Mhm,
that's my guy. I go over here all the time. You know, in love with
mhm.
which is
Miles.
true.
Like, hey, I get it. Black people are dope. Don't you know? I understand, but I was just more surprised at how she was so, you know, like lean, way black. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Hell, I don't even know if it was no. Oh, the only white guy in there was Peter, right? He was like middle aged white guy at that point.
Yeah, he was the only white straight male that was there.
I mean, but we saw
We know all about
variations
that.
of him though.
Yeah, yeah. Well. That's what I'm saying. Like we know Peter is alive and well. We don't need to see him. That's why he's not in the main clique that she hangs with. I guess you know what I mean. Like
Mhm.
white Peter's got nothing for her, or maybe she just don't like being reminded of her Peter. I don't know.
Probably so.
It
She
could be
probably
that.
didn't see her Peter like that. I
Yeah.
walked in just a hair after he had died.
Shit, dude, you walked in kind of late.
Yeah,
You
man, that shit pissed
you
me
missed
off.
about 10 minutes.
I know, man. I was there about 15 minutes early, man. I was watching previews. I rarely watch previews. You know what I'm saying?